EA Sports FIFA 20 sponsors Saturday Social.
This is Making It Pro with Kevin De Bruyne in partnership with EA Sports FIFA 20. Delighted to say Kevin joins me now. Kevin, we know that you're bossing it in the Premier League at the minute, but I want to take it back to the very early days, your memories as a young kid growing up in Belgium and how important football was for you at a very young age.
Well, football is all that I've been known in my life. I've not played any other sports, not in competition, and my parents always told me the only thing that I needed from being a baby was a little ball in the crib, and that's I'm almost 29 now, and that's not changed. So it's been a journey with the ball.
Who was Kevin De Bruyne's role model, your hero? Who did you want to grow up to be?
Well, when I was really young, I was like 7-8 years old. It was Michael Owen. When we played 7 against 7, I was similar type, small, pretty fast in comparison with a lot of people at that time. And that was it. And the older that I grew up, I enjoy a lot of football players, but I never had really any personal favorite anymore.
You had youth team at Drongen, then Ghent, then you went to Genk. Now, for us as a FAR, people think of when players make it or go into a youth team, it's like a dream scenario. All your friends have that jealous factor because you're one step to making it as a professional football. But I've read a lot of interesting articles about you saying how difficult that period of your life was, because particularly when you moved to Genk, you had to move house and leave your parents. And was that a particularly difficult period of your life for you, Kevin?
Well, I think the first year wasn't easy. Basically, when I was 14 years old, I decided to make that move to Genk because I think it fit more my playing style. And it wasn't really working out at Ghent because I was, for the last 3-4 years at Ghent, I was always playing with 1 year older. So they put me one grade ahead. So I'm 91, right. I always play with the 90s. And then I think the last year that I was there, the trainer decided we don't want to put you with that team anymore, and you're going back to your team. For me, it was difficult at the time because basically I've played 4 years with these guys, and that was my team. So I decided I need a new challenge, and then I went to Genk. But the first year there wasn't an option to go to another family to live with. So I basically had to live at a school, but that school was basically for troubled children, and I was somebody who was gone from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 in the evening, and then I had to do everything by myself, and I saw a lot of kids crashing down because basically their parents didn't want them at home, so they put them in this type of environment. So it was totally weird for me, and I didn't have any social life because basically I was just doing football.
Your first few years in Genk then, although, as you said, you moved house, you won the league, you're playing regularly. That must be a very satisfying period to sort of finally make it as a professional footballer. Did you find a big step up between the youth team football and playing first team football in Belgium?
Every team has a second team where people who don't play in the weekend with the first team basically will drop off and play some games with the second team. So basically you have a lot of players who play normally in the first team, and they play then on Monday evening with the reserves. And then it's just a mix of first team players and young players. So the level is quite good. And there was a lot of young players at Genk. So we were a good group together. And that team who was good in the second team, they basically, a couple of years later, we won the title together with that team. So I think it's a nice thing to see for the club and also for us, because basically a lot of youth players brought a title to a team as Genk, and I think that's what they stand for.
And then, of course, signing for Chelsea come in for you. How big a move was that for you? Is that always a dream for yourself to play in the Premier League?
I think I always wanted to play in the Premier League, but I just, obviously, you have to wait who is interested and who shows what deals they can make. And I think at the time with Chelsea was a really good deal. The negotiation, what we made is that after the half year that I was in Genk, that I would go pre-season and go on loan. So it was a good progression for me because I understand, like, to go from Belgium playing to Chelsea, that's probably not going to happen. But with a little loan in between at Bremen, and a lot of teams were getting interested. and then I had a chance maybe to go to Dortmund at the time, but basically Jose called me, he said, I want you to play for us. And okay, I say, if the coach wants you, I'm fine. I signed for this club. Then I played, and then at a particular time I didn't play anymore. And I don't like it, because I look at football, I want to play. After 4 or 5 months, I think I can pretty understand what my situation is. And then I try to force a little bit to make a transfer, another loan, and etc., because I didn't feel comfortable with it, and that's what I did. And I think in the end it was a good deal, but it didn't went the way we expected it, because obviously you try to play for Chelsea, but it didn't go that way. But I don't look at that bad situation. It was a good progression for me, but it just didn't work out at that time, and that's not something bad. I guess it's something to learn from.
And you mentioned Jose there. What was he like to work under, Jose Mourinho? Because you've played under so many top coaches throughout your career.
Technically, he's very good. The way that he plays, I think everybody knows his play style. So the way that he likes his team to play, he knows what he's doing. I think he's basically one of the best trainers in the world. It's maybe not a coach who has the same maybe philosophy in the way that I like to play, maybe, but that's with maybe half the coaches that I have, and that's not an issue. I think as a player you need to adapt to the coach, but on the other hand, I've not got really a lot bad to say from him, except I didn't play under you, but everybody's gonna say that about the coach where they didn't play, so that's it.
You had an amazing particular season at Wolfsburg, 2014-15 season. I've got the stats in front of me. 16 goals, 27 assists in all competitions. You won the DFB Pokal final. You scored in that final, of course. It's interesting you saying that Chelsea was a good sort of learning experience. Was that the season you felt like you were at your pinnacle at Wolfsburg?
Well, at that particular time, yes. I think now, 5 years later, I think I'm much better than at that period, but obviously statistically, I think with the team that we had, with a really good team, interesting team, a lot of good players, but I think that year particularly we didn't start that well, but I think we rose together, and the team just grow and grow, and we did overachieved a little bit, because we won maybe 10 points behind Bayern, but that's okay. And we won the title, we won the cup and the Super Cup. So there's not a lot more you can do when you play in Germany.
I remember that season. There was a lot of interest about you. Were there a lot of clubs in for you, Kevin? Because as I said, you had a very, very good season that season. Were there a lot of clubs across Europe that were showing an interest at that time?
Well, I think the three main teams at that particular time was City, Bayern, and PSG. In the beginning, it was like, I don't know what to do. Should I stay in Germany? Should I stay at Wolfsburg because I'm good? Should I go back to England, knowing what my situation was when I left? France, PSG is massive, but the league is maybe not that attractive. So it's a lot of things you have to weigh up. And it was close at some times, but I think in the end, I was most interested in City. And, obviously sometimes teams play against a little bit. And Wolfsburg has obviously a massive part because you're waiting for them. And the whole summer was like, you're going to go in 2 days. And then I had to stay another 2 weeks, wait. So basically, I think my agent lived for 3 weeks or 4 weeks at my house because basically I was signing every day. So it was a stressful time. My wife was pregnant with her first, so it was nice and it was not really nice.
So when you finally put pen to paper on that Man City contract, what was the emotion? Was it happiness? Was it stress? Was it relief? What were you feeling at that point?
I think it was just happiness, and I think also with my wife, we told, I think this is now the place where we can stay a long time, because basically I think the 5 years before I moved 4 times. It takes a lot of your thought process out of football, and basically when I came here, it just gave me peace. I found a nice house. I've built my family, and it grew naturally. And yeah, now I'm already here 5 years, so it's been a long time.
And of course, it was a big fee, over £50 million, to bring you a second most expensive transfer in British football history at the time of players coming into the Premier League. Do you feel that as a player? Does that give you any extra pressure when you move for such a big fee, or is it something that you don't think of?
People said a lot of things, but basically people didn't see me play. People saw me play two games in England, and I know it's not a knock, but a lot of people in England, they don't care what's happening in other leagues, and they don't watch other leagues. So I don't think they understand the level that I had at Wolfsburg, or that my team had, or how we did in Europe against big teams. So basically, in 2 years, a lot can happen. I had more confidence. I was playing better, and I was just a better player at that time. And when I left was 21. When I came, 23, 24. It's a lot of difference in that age. And I came with a lot of confidence, and it helped also when I came into the team. I did well. Like the first 4 or 5 games, you're on a roll and you start playing a lot, had some important goals, and you know, when you feel comfortable, and then it goes quickly.
Since you've been at Man City, Kevin, obviously we know that the fans love you. You've won a host of individual awards. You've won the Premier League twice, the FA Cup, the League Cup 4 times, the Community Shield. So many awards. Does it make you hungrier the more trophies that you win to carry on being successful and to win more trophies?
Well, I think the goal is always to win. You start by winning a game, and then you just go on and see where you can reach. But I think at a team at City, your goal is to win everything. You know, we know it's difficult. The competition is really hard, and the level you need to achieve as an individual, but also as a team, is very high. And sometimes it gets a little bit for granted if you win a lot. But I think this team is managing pretty good with the amount of trophies that we won lately. And they're still working hard. We know the Premier League is done this year, but we tried to win as much games, but it didn't work. But we still have a lot of things we can win this year, and I think that's what we're looking forward to.
Quite a tough question, this, Kevin, but I'm intrigued to know, because there are so many world-class players at Man City, who has been the best player that you've played alongside at your time at Man City? Is there one person that stands out in training?
Well, if I have to choose the best player that I played with, I would say David Silva.
David Silva, yeah, what a player.
Yeah. Just in general, everything that he's got, also the person that he is. And, you know, when I came here, obviously it was maybe more the person that had to fight for a spot in my team, but I think basically we just found a spot for each other in the team. And I think the way that we work together goes really, really well, and I think we're complementary to each other. So, but I think in general, the way football is played and how I look at football, I think he's the best player that I've played with.
I can't ask you about Man City and not talk to you about Pep Guardiola. We mentioned Jose earlier. I know that you've worked with many top coaches throughout your career. How influential has Pep Guardiola been for you on and off the pitch?
What is handy for me, I think I found a coach who plays or has the same philosophy that I have in my mind. So basically, it's very simple. I don't think I have a lot of conversations with Pep in regard of playing or what he asks me to do. I think he gives me a lot of freedom. I think he understands me that whatever he asks of the team or for me personally, I will do it. I don't pose any questions to whatever manager. You know, if something is going on, I will tell it. Like I'm always sometimes I'm too honest. But I think people appreciate it also, and they know I will be, I think, the first in the team who will fight more than other players, even with the qualities that I have. But in my mind, I need to show it to set an example for everybody. And I think we on the same wavelength together.
I'd like to quickly just talk about your international career as well, Kevin, because you're part of the golden generation for Belgium. Of course, so many talented players. We mentioned the talented players you play with for Man City, but there are so many great players you play with internationally as well. Do you feel the pressure for Belgium, the fact that you are part of that golden generation? Is there expectancy from the country on this team to win a major trophy?
Well, I think there was, and maybe that settled down a bit after the way we performed in Russia, because obviously in a tournament everything needs to go right, and I think we had a great tournament in Russia. Obviously we lost in the semi-final, but it was a close game. France was probably a little bit better at the day, but okay, it's not an embarrassment to lose 1-0 against France. In that particular time we won every other game against big countries, and it was the best placement that we ever had for our country, so that was a really big thing. And I think the game against Brazil was significant because even if we did well at tournaments, we never won against a big country. We just did the small countries, and every time we played against a big country we lost, and this time we beat them, and it gives a different perspective to everybody, but we trying to, well, obviously with the Euros postponed, it was a chance, but we'll try next year, and we'll see where it goes. But we still have a good team. But yeah, in a couple of years, our team is getting a little bit older. It's maybe getting more difficult, and we have to be realistic. We're still a small country, but we have a pretty good team.
Final question, your future ambitions. What would you like to achieve in the game in your playing career, or any ambitions you have after your career's over? What does the future hold? What would you like to achieve?
I know this period showed me that, I missed still playing football. I think that's a really important thing. With even the career that I had, the amount of matches, I still wanted to go out and play football. It's a time to reflect a little bit what you want. And that's the main thing for later on. I don't really know. We're doing coaching badges with Belgium, so I was doing that also. We're in the second phase now, so it's nice because we had an opportunity to get these degrees in a quicker form while still being active as a player. So it's something that I can already take if I obviously get the degree for later. It's something that I can work with, whatever I want to do. But basically, there's a lot of interests that are still open, business-wise, football-wise. But yeah, it's difficult to say what direction I want to go if I'm not knowing myself. So I'm trying to focus on my football, on my family, and the rest I will see.
Kevin, thank you very, very much for your time. Congratulations on the impending new arrival to the De Bruyne household. Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was, of course, Making It Pro with Kevin De Bruyne in partnership with EA Sports FIFA 20.